Well, it's noon on Tuesday, February 14th. Love is in the air. It's Valentine's Day, and this is news that you can use from CarEdge with your hosts, Loverboy and his dad, Ray.
I'm not sure if what's worse, yesterday's intro where I referred to my girlfriend as our girlfriend, or today you referring to me as lover boy. Either way, Pops, did you see the headline for today's show? Did you see what I came up with?
Before I even look, um, uh, what did you get our girlfriend for Valentine's Day?
We're working on it. We are going to get that done before we get home tonight. So we are working on it.
Oh my goodness gracious!
We'll get it figured out, man. We'll get it figured out.
Sure,
We will.
sure. No, I hear all the Valentine's gifts and stuff are 50% off tomorrow. So just just saying.
All right. We went with that. Americans are idiots and won't stop buying expensive cars. Did you see? I went with that was my words, not yours. Did you see this
Yeah.
yesterday, Dad? In
Yes.
Cox Automotive, luxury share of U.S. market sets new record in January as transaction prices remain up 5.9% year over year. Okay, transaction prices going up. Yeah, we're getting fed up with that. Actually, month over month, they went down nearly 0.5%. But the thing that fed me up about this, Dad,
Yes. Yes.
was this. Luxury share hits record high.
Yeah.
Look at this, Dad. Strong luxury vehicle sales have been a primary reason for overall elevated new vehicle prices. This remained the case in January when luxury vehicle share jumped to a record 19.6%. 1 in 5 new cars sold in January were luxury cars, up from 18.6%, which was the previous record. Dad,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
are we doing here?
So what does that tell you? I know what it tells me. What's it tell you? Well,
Consumerism, marketing, what does it tell you?
it tells me that this is a market that is being driven by people of means and not by the rest of us. Okay. Um, People of means that have the resources to buy luxury cars are in fact going out and buying luxury cars. Um, I don't think today the pretenders, the wannabes, with interest rates what they are and pricing what it is and inflation what it is, I don't think those folks are out there buying luxury cars. So I think this indicates to me that there are more people with above average means that are filling the void in the marketplace right now. And by void, I mean that there are fewer and fewer people in the market, but it's more rich people that are in the market than it is average people in the market. So that's kind of a scary thought. And I think I mentioned it yesterday. I mean, I've heard some rumors that Honda is going to bring back some lower uh, priced trim levels because they realize that. Well, first of all, they don't produce a luxury car other than on the Acura side, and even that's only
Yeah.
near luxury. They realize that somebody has to start catering to the rest of us. Okay. It can't just be the rich of us, it has to be catering to the rest of us. So that's what it says to me.
I got a couple things that I got to pull up and show you. Before I do, I want to let everyone know on Thursday, you have to
Yes.
tune in on Thursday. We have Tommy and Roman from the Fast Lane. They'll be joining us on the show. So please tell a friend to tell a friend and make sure you're
Yeah.
here on Thursday on the Ray and Zach channel. We have Tommy and Roman from the TFL crew going to be with us. Now, Dad, there's an interesting development here. There's so many
Okay.
interesting angles of this. You're blaming the consumer. Obviously, I came up with today's title, so I'm blaming the consumer as well. There was an article, Dad, that came out in
Yes.
Bloomberg yesterday that I think is timely. And if y'all remember, my 2023 goal is 100,000 Twitter followers, and we are, We are as likely to get a Valentine's Day gift as we are to get to 100,000 Twitter followers. But hey,
Yeah.
Dad, Bloomberg
Yeah.
came out with this yesterday. New automakers used to run plants at full tilt and sell cars for deep discounts. Now they're keeping inventories tight and prices high, putting a shiny new ride out of reach for the typical American family. The other culprit here, and I quote tweeted it and said, back in the late 1950s, Toyota came to the United States selling affordable and reliable cars. They took massive market share over the following decades. I'm not sure which automaker will run that playbook again, but the same thing will happen soon. So, Dad, it's not only the consumer, it's also these
Yes.
automakers intentionally choosing to run their plants not at full tilt and to
Yes.
simply make more expensive vehicles. And eventually, someone will run the Toyota, Subaru, Honda playbook again, and they will get a ton of market share. Now, the one other
Yes.
factor to queue up for you, Dad, is this. At the same exact time, we are seeing a striking decline in the next generation of vehicle owners choosing not to even get their driver's license, Dad. So there is
Wow.
a current development that we don't spend time talking about, but where is it here? Give me a second. In 1997, 43% of 16-year-olds and 62% of 17-year-olds had a driver's license. In 2020, those numbers had fallen to 25% and 45%. That's another
Wow.
factor here, Dad.
Well,
So
let me ask you.
yeah.
I was going to say, let me ask you a question. Who's actually going to be able to drive those Ubers for those kids? I mean, if it's people like me, as a 90-year-old, you're not really going to want me picking you up in an Uber and driving you around. Maybe they're smarter than the rest of us in that sense. I mean, I mentioned to you the other day, that I look at my car, and between my car payment and my insurance, I spend very little on gas because I drive 300 miles a month, if that. But I thought to myself, my God, it's close to what, $600 a month. So that puts me at what, $7,200 for the year. And I said to you, maybe when this lease is up, I just don't get another car. And when I need to travel from the Jersey Shore, from Ventnor to Bethesda to the home offices of CarEdge, I get a driver to take me. It's still, if it cost me $300 to do that, it's half of what I was spending to have my own car.
So do you not see the what's happening here? Essentially, we are pricing out the next generation of car owners. They are
Yes.
choosing to do what you're suggesting you're going to do because honestly, you're thinking to yourself, it's cheaper for me to not own a car or lease a car, just get rides when I need it.
Yes.
And at the same time, we are the automakers are intentionally making this decision to just get profits today versus have a long-term bet. I'm telling you, some automaker is going to come in here and slide in and say, okay, you guys all play that strategy. We're going to play the other one like Toyota did in 1956. And in about 2 decades, you'll be wondering why we're the number one selling brand in the United States and you're not. I don't know which one it's going to be, Dad, but because I don't see a world where we've invested so much money in all these highways and roads and things like the idea of not having cars, people owning cars. I don't believe that's an outcome of this. I do think those Gen Zers, when they move to the suburbs, they're going to have cars. They're just not going to choose all the really expensive ones. They can't. And an automaker is going to step up and actually do that. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the idiot here. And maybe all the consumers out there will get swayed by the marketing and they'll convince themselves to pay way too much for a vehicle.
You know what I would love to know when it comes to people buying luxury cars? I would love to know the demographics. Is it boomers and retired boomers that have invested wisely, that are treating themselves at the latter part of their lives because, well, they can afford to? Is it people in their 50s on up, and with very few people below 50 doing it? That's what I would be curious to know. And if a big percentage of those that are buying luxury cars are 50 and older, well, that means your buyers are dying off sooner because they are older. So what's
Absolutely.
going to happen? Yeah, what's going to, it was almost like if you had a Buick dealership, okay, you really didn't worry too much about customer retention because the joke was, well, this is the last car your customer's buying anyway because of the age of the people that were buying it. So what happens as these boomers, if it's an older, if ownership skews much older, what happens moving forward 2, 3, 4 years from now as more and more of these people are dying off? What's going to happen to luxury car sales then? It just, I will go back to what I've said, and that is
Huh.
we need more affordable cars for the vast majority of Americans, and we need to stop catering to the small minority of Americans that can actually afford to buy a car in today's market. And I agree with you. If someone comes along and follows Toyota's playbook from the 50s and 60s, they will make inroads in market share that will be shocking to many of the legacy brands.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't know if any of the big players, Toyota, Subaru, Honda, Nissan, Mazda, Hyundai, Kia, and then all your American. I don't know if any of them will be the ones that do it. That it might have to be a different import brand that comes into the country and
Yeah.
says, "Hey, we're not for the elites. We're for the rest of you." It's almost like Festivus for the rest of us. It could be Festivus Motors. I don't know. Festivus Autos for Festivus for the rest of us. We're the ones that can help you afford to buy a car.
Yes.
I mean, somewhere along the line, it's got a pencil. If you could be selling millions, why others are
Either that,
selling
Dad, or
hundreds of
everyone.
thousands.
Either that, or everyone ends up trying to be Ferrari. That doesn't work. It doesn't work. Mobility is needed for another subset of humanity. Even if they're not car owners, that subset of humanity are the gig workers who drive the rest of us around. Okay, they're not going to be driving us around in Porsches. That's not what it's going to be. It's too expensive. It just doesn't make sense. So I completely agree with you. Some automaker is going to come in and build the people's car, one that people can actually afford. And I don't know when it happens, but I think it happens relatively soon because it's unsustainable what we're seeing in the market. And another factor that makes it unsustainable, Pops, interest rates. Look at this chart. This came out of data just today from Cox Automotive. Gang, I know it's tiny on the screen, but read that subhead up there. Auto loan rates keep moving higher with average new up to 8.62% and average used up to 13.18%. One of the things I'm very proud of that we have over on CarEdge.com is when you're looking at a vehicle. So let's say you're looking at this 2019 Ford F-250. You can scroll down, not only see the price history, of course, you can see what it's going to cost you out the door, in this case, in the state of California. You can then play around, folks, with the monthly payment calculator. So let's say I put no cash down and I'm crazy and I want to finance this for 96 months at the average used car APR. I'm still paying $1,084 a month. Obviously, I'm not going to finance that for 96 months. What if I do something a bit more reasonable, 60 months? It's still a $1,500 a month payment on a pickup truck. So that's another factor in all this, Dad, interest rates.
And that doesn't take into account the cost of maintenance, the cost of insurance, the cost of fuel. I mean, it's these.
And that's lower on the page, folks. All you got to do is scroll down. That's lower on the page. Cost of depreciation, cost of insurance, maintenance costs. That's all right there. Just scroll down on the page.
And it's, it is shocking to me when I saw what the average interest rates are it's shocking to me that used car sales were up in January and are up so far in February. Who is actually buying these cars, and why? I mean, why would anybody agree to pay the type of payments it takes to buy one of these cars? And most of these people, or a lot of these people, I shouldn't say most because I don't know, but a lot of these people are going to the extended terms of
Yeah. Oh, we've seen it.
72,
Yeah.
84, and 96 months. And they are just, what they don't realize when they do it is that they are about to find themselves choking on the amount of interest that they're going to be paying back on these car loans. And it just, it makes no sense to me, which is why I think this is an anomaly, what we've seen so far in January and February. That it's just, this is not sustainable. I keep saying it, and so far, folks out there, the idiots that keep buying expensive cars, are proving me wrong. But at a certain point, Zach, I'm sorry, you run out of idiots. Okay, there's only so many idiots, and at a certain point, you're going to run out of them. And then the rest of us are going to be sitting around going, well, how am I ever supposed to buy a car at these interest rates and at these prices? It's just, it isn't, it's sustainable in the short term, but it is not sustainable in the long term. And these are businesses that hope to be growing, and they're not really growing. So that impacts long-term sustainability. Costs aren't going down. Employment costs aren't going down. Labor costs aren't going down. Parts costs aren't going down. So how do you make up for that? By volume, to bring down the average cost per vehicle. I'm telling you, once we run out of idiots, and well, this is America, so there's probably an abnormal amount of them out there. But once we run out of them, there's going to be a real issue.
And let's be clear, we entirely recognize that there are people that need capital NEED, need to buy a car. That is different. When we look at historical trends in luxury car market share, and it just keeps month over month setting new records, those are not people out there who need to buy a car. Those are people who are choosing to buy those more expensive vehicles, making it more difficult for the people who need to buy cars. It's a dichotomy of economies. Terrible phrase. Dichotomy of economies for those who have and those who don't. And the automakers are tailoring for those who have, and those that don't are now getting the squeeze of used car prices starting to go back up. They're trying to find more affordable vehicles. It's impossible. It's a situation that I think we're both fed up with, to be honest. And yeah, Pops, let me pull up two comments in the chat. First here from Joe. Okay. I'm going to get an Amish horse and buggy. Just make sure you don't pay for the extra options on that, Joe. No heated and ventilated seats, no moonroof.
And if I may, you could just get a regular horse and buggy. It doesn't have to be Amish.
That's a good point. And Dad, we have here from Andrew, I think an interesting question. Curious what you consider to be an expensive car, Dad.
Anything over $40,000 to me, to my mind, that's expensive. Okay, because once you start crossing the plateau of $40,000, the payments just keep. They're staggeringly high. So I don't. Yeah, that to me is that's what I think. 40 grand.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of money to me.
I don't know. Your sister and brother-in-law just got a car for under 30,000. Okay. So
think about how much of an anomaly they are. Like they're they're an outlier in the data set.
Oh, absolutely they are. Yeah. Yes. And what's really funny, if I may digress for a moment.
Go for it.
As you well know, I always said, hey, we're never going to let money or the lack thereof stop us from doing the things that I think you and your sister and your mother were entitled to experience. I didn't always know where the money was going to come from, but I was never going to let the lack of money prevent us from experiencing different things. And your sister, God bless her, who grew up realizing my mindset when it came to money, is the polar opposite. Or at least she married a man that's the polar opposite, and maybe she's trying to impact him to a certain degree. But she has figured out how you don't have to have the very most expensive of anything. You need the things, or you can get by with the things that are slightly more than adequate, and provide a better value than overpaying for things. So God bless her. I don't know where your sister got that from. Either that or her Zach is a really, really great influence on her. Because me, I just, to this day, I joke around. I'm going to do everything in my power to spend your inheritance. I want it to be as little as possible. But
thanks, Dad.
Well, it's the least I can do. But my point is that you don't need to spend $40,000. Sometimes you don't need to spend $30,000. And we need more people to think that way, and we need more manufacturers to build cars that would fit into those concepts. Just me.
Really? You gotta be kidding me.
All right, so we didn't spend a ton of time talking about this on the show, but we have a resolution, Dad.
Yes.
To all those Hyundais and Kias that were getting stolen. There are some insurance carriers out there, State Farm being one of them, that will not provide auto insurance to certain Hyundais and Kias because they are so easy to steal as a result of a TikTok going viral explaining how to sneak into these without alerting authorities. Now, Dad, the thing that makes this today's really, you've got to be kidding me, because there's a software upgrade to the 8.3 million vehicles. You remember when we had computers back way back when, and you would have all these, you'd have McAfee, you'd have Avast, you'd have all these different anti spam softwares or whatever what are they called? What's the word I'm looking for?
Malware.
Antivirus. Malware. Yeah, malware bites. Okay. We're about to have the same thing for cars. You're going to have to download your McAfee, your Avast, your malware, but it is unbelievable, Dad. Two aspects of this are really got to be kidding me. Something goes viral on TikTok, and now insurance carriers won't offer insurance for those cars. And the OEM solution is to have you download, McAfee antivirus. It's insane to me that this is the reality of the situation.
It's technology is a wonderful thing to a certain degree. Software is a wonderful thing to a certain degree. In some ways, it makes our life easier. In other ways, it drives me absolutely effing crazy. Especially when it isn't easy to use.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're looking at a situation with 8.3 million cars that don't have the push button start. So if it's a key, an actual damn key. And those cars were so easy to steal that, yes, many insurance companies have gotten to the point where they said, we won't insure. What's the point of insuring them? It's like we know we're going to have to buy them a new car. So the premium's not enough unless you make the premium like 20 grand. What's the point? So Hyundai and Kia have to figure out a way to correct the situation to make those millions of cars still desirable, and still desirable enough for insurance companies to insure them. So, yeah, they're actually going to increase the length that the alarm goes off to a whole minute if somebody tries to steal it, from 30 seconds. but it's I don't know. Life was just sometimes life was just simpler. I don't know, before TikTok, before some of this technology, and maybe this is just the Chinese, their way of getting back at us for so far not bringing in a lot of Chinese. Well, TikTok is a Chinese company.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe they're mad because we haven't allowed them to bring their electric cars into the country yet. I don't know.
Okay. All right. All right. I thought you were not. I thought you were talking about like a demographic of people, not like
no.
What's the style of government they have in China? People's Republic. But what is that? It's a dictator.
It's a communist government. No, I was talking about.
You're referring to the communist government. Got it. Okay.
Yes. I wasn't referring to Chinese people. I was referring to the country of China. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Maybe, Dad. But honestly, it's also, think about it. If you're someone who does this and this is fun for you, you kind of just want to go viral. I mean, the thing that I think is interesting about this, Dad, is you can already see a dealer addendum sticker or on and out the door price. You're going to see antivirus. Like that is, I mean, we've looked at some dealer worksheets that have Crystal Fusion on them and we have no clue what that means. You are totally going to see.
I learned what Crystal Fusion is. Okay. And it's not the drug that I thought it was that you could get on most corners in America. It is a coating for the windshield. Okay.
Fair. But you could already see there's going to be antivirus is going to be a line item that people are paying for.
Hey, if there's a germ bath for $2,000 there, I'm sure there could be an antivirus to protect your car. I mean, somebody is going to come up with that, and that's going to be the big push in the F&I office. Well, you know how much technology is in this car. There is an antivirus that's available for it. It's only $895. It'll impact your payment about $20 a month. I would highly recommend it. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Your F&I voice is fantastic.
Well, and if somebody hasn't come up with that yet, they're about to. Okay. They are absolutely about to, because it makes that should be the easiest sale ever in the F&I office. Well, you have any idea how many computers are in your damn car? You want a virus in those computers? Do you have any idea what that can do to your car? You're going to look like a cruise car in San Francisco where it just stops at an intersection and doesn't go again. Do you want that in your car? Well, I've got a way for you to protect yourself from something like that happening to your car. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. You want to protect that depreciating asset, because it's not really an investment. I used to love when people would say to me, well, my car's an investment. And I used to look at them, I go, let me ask you a question. If I was your stockbroker and I called you up and I said, hey, I've got a great idea. Give me $50,000 a day and I'll show you how I can turn that into $25,000 in 3 years. Are you using me as your stockbroker? I don't think so. A car is not an investment. A car is an expense. Yeah. Okay. So when people used to say to me, oh, well, this is a pretty big investment. If this is what you think an investment is, you might be one of the idiots that won't stop buying expensive cars if you think a car is an investment. You like how I tied that into the day's title?
You did a good job. I want to remind everyone, or let everyone know, I'm looking for feedback. We launched a new homepage over at CarEdge.com, trying to highlight some of the ways that we can help you out. I'm not going to show all of it, but I would love if we could get some feedback. Just head to CarEdge.com. And as a reminder, you can do all the free things over here under resources or all these various menus, but would love some feedback on the new and revised homepage. And yes, that is Miss Kimberly Klein up at the top there. So look forward to hearing some feedback later on. Pops, can you please sign us off and let us know, are we doing a show tomorrow? I'm not available tomorrow, but are you doing a show? And if so, with who? And you've got a show with Justice after. Why don't we not do a show tomorrow? And then we'll just come back on Thursday with the TFL crew.
Well, that might make the most sense since you won't be available. You'll be
I'm available.
Yeah, you're unavailable tomorrow. So I apologize in advance. There will be no show on this channel tomorrow, but I will be on the electric channel with our show Unplugged, CarEdge Electric Unplugged with Justice tomorrow and Phil from our team.
Yep.
So you can join us for that at 12:45 on our electric channel. Otherwise, Zach and I will be back here on Thursday at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, with more news that you can use from CarEdge. How'd I do?
That was great. And we'll be on with Roman and Tommy from TFL. So can't wait to talk to them on Thursday. Pops, enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And thanks for being here. Thank you all for being here.
Yes, thank you all. We'll see some of you on the electric show tomorrow, and others of you will see you on Thursday. Have a good one, guys.